Four Premier League matches then kicking off all at the same time today, but fear not, Mark Ogden and Stevie Nicol keep an eye on all of them as we reflect on what could be a big day of results. Oggy, let's start, shall we, with Manchester City, closing the gap, of course, on Arsenal back to 2 points. 3-0 victory at Selhurst Park, a depleted Crystal Palace side, but still an impressive performance.
Yeah, because obviously I know Palace lost at home to Man United a couple of weeks ago, but they're still pretty strong at Selhurst Park. And this was a game that you thought, well, City could slip up because Palace pushing for top four, surprisingly. And it ended up routine, didn't it? A 3-0 win. Really good result. On the back of what happened on Saturday night with Arsenal really struggled to get over the line against Wolves. So, Arsenal aren't really convincing right now, but City getting the results. So they're kind of ominous, aren't they, at the minute? They're kind of getting the points, getting the wins, and all of a sudden it's 2 points. So much for Arsenal having a big lead at Christmas. It could be no lead at Christmas. So City are just doing what they have to do and keeping the pressure on.
How are you feeling if you're Arsenal right now, Stevie?
I think you should be worried. I mean, it was a great performance. There's no question. That's how you do it. Away from home against a side that everybody says is going to give you a fright. Yes, had Pino taken that opportunity that when he was clean through and hit the crossbar, but after that, that's how you do it away from home. You need everybody to be solid. You don't want to give too much away, and then you need some of your so-called stars to sprinkle a little dust, and that's what we got. Haaland with a fantastic header. Phil Foden, probably his fourth in 6 games, something like that. And I thought Cherki looked like a Premier League player today. The first time, I think he's really stood out for me. Some great little touches. Nice little run as well for Foden's goal. Yeah, if you're Man City, you're delighted. If you're Arsenal, you're absolutely looking over your shoulder big time.
Fair to say Foden's back, Oggy?
Yeah, I think so. I think he has his kind of bursts, doesn't he? He has dips and bursts, but I think he's definitely back to his best. But he's not a showy player, Phil Foden. He's not a player that will kind of demand the spotlight. And I think he's just gone about his business quite well now. I think he scored a great goal again today. And I think the fact that Foden is back playing well, when he plays well, Haaland seems to play well. They have a kind of relationship which kind of bounce off each other. So, Haaland will get all the headlines as usual. Foden is the guy that is kind of making them tick a little bit. I think maybe he's finally found his feet. They're looking for somebody to step into that role that Kevin De Bruyne vacated, the guy that gets goals from midfield. And Foden can do that. He's done it before. He did it a couple of years ago. Had a bad year last year, but I think Foden, when he's firing and when Haaland's scoring goals as well, I think Stevie's right. I think you'd be really concerned if you're Arsenal because they've got some big games coming up. They've got Villa coming up, Liverpool coming up as well. So, yeah, this is a good time for City. I think City are beginning to reel them in.
How much does experience count, Stevie, in this second part of the season?
I absolutely don't think you can discount it whatsoever. Regardless of what situation it is, if you've been in it, it registers. And you can tell the signs when things need to change in terms of whether your tactics or your positioning or how you pick the team, certainly in terms of the manager. I think it's huge. I think more importantly, it's the difference between the two managers that counts more, in my opinion. The fact that Pep's been there, done it, seen it 1,000 times, and everybody will say, well, Arteta was there when they won the Premier League and all these other things, but it's a different ball game when you're in charge and you're making final decisions. And as much as, yes, if you're a player and you've been there before, there's no question that you use that experience. But I think more importantly, the way the manager acts and the decisions he makes and the tone he uses, players can smell when a manager's uncomfortable or nervous or not sure. And so I think as much as anything else, I think the difference between the two managers could be the key, certainly between now and the end of the season.
So City very much in touching distance of Arsenal at the top of the table, as of course are Aston Villa. And it didn't look like that at the start of this game. Of course, West Ham scoring the fastest goal of the Premier League this season. They were in the lead. However, Villa coming from behind to win by 3-2. Morgan Rogers, absolutely brilliant. Once again, Stevie, big statement from Villa this, considering where they were in this tie.
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is. Having gone behind twice, coming back, and then winning the game. As you said, Morgan Rogers is absolutely frightening right now. I mean, all the talk is, do you play Bellingham or do you play Rogers for England? I mean, it's hard to argue that Rogers wouldn't keep Bellingham out of the team. But in terms of, I don't like to say this, but it's the truth. The caveat is it's West Ham. And West Ham can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives. And although they got off to a fantastic start, I always thought Villa were going to get back into this. And yes, you have to do it. It's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to do it. And as open as the game was, because West Ham, you know, were a big part of it and tried to go forward. And Jared Bowen in particular, I mean, he looks dangerous every time he gets on the ball or anywhere near the goal. So yeah, it's a great result for Villa, a great performance. They did come back twice from being behind. But again, the caveat is it's West Ham who today were way better than they've been all season. But yet again, just aren't good enough. That's the bottom line.
Is that 10 wins out of 11 now, Ogden? What's changed for Villa?
Yeah, I think somebody said it's the first time in Premier League history they've won 6 on the bounce. So, I mean, I think they've got a great manager. They've got a guy. I mean, Steve was talking about Pep and Arteta. I think Emery's the same kind of, as Pep, really. Obviously not the same level, but he's a guy that has been around the block. He knows how to win games, knows how to win trophies. And I think when you look at what he had at Villa in the summer, when they didn't sign Rashford, they didn't sign Asensio, and they brought in people like Jadon Sancho, Victor Lindelof, Harvey Elliott, who's not kicked a ball basically. It hasn't really strengthened the squad, but he's just got a very strong unit. They know what he wants to do, and I think, you know, even the fact that Ollie Watkins wasn't scoring a lot of goals recently, they're doing this despite a lot of things. It's weird how they've managed to get where they are despite a lot of things that you think are quite negative aspects. But, you know, there's a 5-point gap now between them in third and Chelsea in fourth. So they're pulling away a little bit. They play Chelsea, I think, in 2 weeks. They play United next Sunday, I think. So, you know, this time in 2 weeks' time, Villa could be, you know, very well set in third place. And, you know, I think Steve is right. They're not going to win the league, but they're certainly in the shake-up to decide it. And, you know, they've got a manager who can certainly negotiate his path down the final straight.
Top 4 then for Villa, Stevie, is something they should be satisfied with, or really push for this title? Can they?
I don't believe they can. I really don't. I don't think the squad's strong enough to be fighting on all fronts. They're on a fantastic run. You know, again, it's a bit like the snowball right now for them. The belief's there, and when you step on the field, and regardless of the opposition, you feel as though you can win. That's a great place to be. But I just don't think they can sustain it for the whole season in the Premier League. I don't think they're strong enough. You know, if Morgan Rogers goes down, I'm not quite sure where the goals are coming from. You know, Ollie Watkins has been a bit barren when it's come to putting the ball in the back of the net. But yeah, they're on a great run. Long may it continue as far as they're concerned. I just don't see them being able to sustain it over the course of the whole season.